Guys, ammunition for this video has been provided by Browne Works Inc., manufacturer of fine custom handgun grips. If you guys are looking for very unique, very customized handgun grips for your favorite handgun, contact Mark at Browne Works Inc., link in the description below, and create something beautiful for your favorite handgun. And don't forget to tell them Wyoming Gun Project sent you. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to take a look at a PSA PA-15 20-inch barrel AR-15. And this is essentially an M16A4 clone. And what makes it the A4 clone is the removable carry handle. Now, as stated before, this does have a 20-inch full-length barrel, and you know, it's essentially the A4 clone minus, of course, the 3-round burst. This is a semi-auto only. So let's just go over some of the basic specs and features of this rifle. As you can see, it does have the full-length fixed stock on it. It does have, let me see if we can get this in here, awkward because it's a big ass rifle. There you go. It does have the cleaning kit, the door for the cleaning kit in the buttstock, the sling swivel in the space it's supposed to be, the standard A2 plastic grip, with standard winter trigger guard, standard fencing around the lower for the mag release. Everybody, you know, again, the forward assist, standard forward assist, the brass deflector, the charging handle, it's all kind of standard stuff. Now, I think this came with a P-mag. This is a LaBelle from manufactured in Wisconsin or whatever. GI mag, which I think I put the gray Magpul followers in, yeah, years ago. Yeah, it's pretty much, it's got the two-piece round handguard, the A-frame fixed front sight, again, the 20-inch barrel with the heavy barrel with the bird cage flash hider. You can see it says 5.56 NATO, 1 in 7 twist. I'm sure with the price that I paid for this gun, it's probably a nitrided barrel. The handguards, there are heat shields in the handguards there. It does have the bayonet lug. I mean, this is all pretty much, let me get it around here, standard fare for some of these clone rifles. But they are, you know, pretty cool. Standard selector, bolt release, nothing special with the trigger. This is a stock M16A4 clone, standard charging handle, and I'm going to leave it like that. I'm not going to change it. I got a bunch of other rifles that are my Super Spec Ops rifles and F-Mark front sight. You know, my Super Spec Op rifles and all this other kind of stuff. I'm going to leave this one alone for the nostalgia purposes because I dig it. It reminds me of the M16A2 that I carried when I was in the Army, when I was on tanks. I have fired this rifle. I'm not sure exactly how many rounds it has through it. It's not many though, 80, 100, I'm not even sure. Build quality, everything's been great so far. It's been reliable. Build quality has been great. There's only really one issue I have with this rifle, and it's a very small cosmetic issue. But I noticed it, and I wanted to point it out because that's what we do here, and because nothing is perfect. I mean, let's face it, nothing's perfect. All right, on these handguards feel like they're a different polymer than some of the other, you know, I'm not going to say lower grade, but they just feel kind of different. But I wanted to point out, let me zoom in here and look at that, okay? Look at the flashing in the holes. Now, is that a big deal? No. Will it, or does it, because I said I have fired this rifle, does it affect functionality, reliability, accuracy, anything like this? Absolutely not. It does not. It's purely cosmetic. But it speaks to the level of detail sometimes that, you know, companies will put into their rifles. Now, I know people are going to say, you know, you only paid this, and I'll tell you what I paid. I paid about $5.99. Listen, manual YouTube reviewer, if you are watching this, I am not selling this rifle. This rifle is not for sale. I do not sell guns. I am telling you what I paid for this rifle from PSA, around $5.99. And so for that, a lot of people will say, well, you know, what do you expect for $5.99? Yeah, I can agree with that this time. You know, but how, I mean, you could just take, as you can see, I cleaned this one up. Okay, you could take a standard knife like this, right? And just pretty much run it in there. You see how I'm peeling off the flashing? Just, you don't even have to take a razor, but standard knife, run it in there, kind of get that flashing out of there, clean it up a little bit. If you really want to take the hand guards off, you could kind of, you know, get my finger in there. You could kind of, if you want to take the handguard off, you could really just take a little smaller knife and just kind of scoop it out. But every single one of them has the flashing in it. And you'll see that, since I saw it on the top, you will also, I looked on the bottom, and you will also see on the bottom. And some of them are pretty bad where there's a lot of flashing. Again, doesn't affect functionality, but this is a small detail that sometimes is either missed or ignored with lower end budget firearms. And if your focus is on reliability, functionality, and accuracy, that doesn't make a difference at all. And I really don't think it makes a difference. However, I do need to point it out because somebody might watch this video and go, oh, I like the way that rifle looks, let me buy it. And then it's in there, and one of them could be worse, and they're like, hey man, why didn't you make, you know, just point it out. To me, it's not that big a deal. As you can see, I've had this rifle for a while before I got around to doing this review. I still haven't taken it apart to clean it up yet. I just haven't got around to it. Maybe I'll do it after the live fire portion of this review. Maybe not, but you know what? Let's just take this M16A4 clone, manufactured by PSA, out to the range and see if it continues its streak of being reliable for us out there in the live fire portion. All right, folks, so we find ourselves back out on the range, this time with the PSA PA-15, like M16A4 clone with the removable carry handle. We got some 55 grain 5.56. This is Winchester, I think. In the old, I think this came with a PMag. Pretty sure it came with a PMag, but I couldn't let that. This doesn't look right, man. So we got an old Adventure Line GI mag, missing the finish, regular. I don't even know if this has a green follower. It might have a black one, but we'll see if it works. Dang, this thing's covered in dust. Been sitting out here for a while. So far, I haven't had any problems with this rifle. So we'll just see how it shoots, man. Okay, folks, now we have some 62 grain green tip. We're just gonna see how this shoots. Guys, I don't know if I just got lucky or if they did it on purpose. I think it's probably luck if I had to take a guess. But this sucker was sighted in dead on, right out of the box. I didn't have to change anything, and it is shooting dead on, man. So let's just keep shooting this sucker, man. Okay, folks, we're just going to do a quick velocity test. Got the chronograph here. We got the 20-inch PSA M16A4 clone. We're just going to see what, and we got 62 grain green tip, in case I didn't say that. We're just going to see what kind of velocity we're getting out of a 20-inch barrel. Now, I've shot this stuff at a 16-inch barrels in the past, and we got one here. We're gonna test it out of 2, and it's going right around 3,000. So let's see what we can get out of this rifle. Hopefully it picks up. 3149, 3138, 3101. Okay, so a little over 3,000 there. Now we got a 16-inch barrel. Now I know it's an AK, okay, but it is a 5.56 chambered 16-inch barrel. I was out here doing some shooting with this gun, so I'm not going to go back in the house just to get an M4 or a, you know. Let's see what we're getting out of the 16-inch AK. 3012. And some of these green tips, man, that's a pretty good hit. I don't know. Okay, 3012. 2959. 2959 says dupe, so but that's probably an error. But so we're getting 100 to 150 feet per second faster. What's going on? That's not a bad hit, man. Let's put it in. You know what? Let's put this round just while we're here, real quick. Let's put this round in the 20-inch. Let me empty it. All right. Just for shits and gigs, man. Let's see if there it is. The round that went click, no bang. Let's see if it'll fire out of the 20-inch. Through here. No. So that's a bad round. Let me grab that one. What the hell? Oh, I didn't put it in. Didn't chamber it? I guess not. There we go. Now it's chambered. That'll help. No. Okay. Same result. Let's see. Let's get it out of there. That must be a bad round. Pick it back up. Huh. Strange. Okay, folks. Final thoughts on the PSA PA-15 M16A4 clone. I think it's great, man. The one thing that does kind of bother me is as I pointed out on the handguards, the flashing on the inside. That's like a little, can you clean it up a little bit? But as I show, it's easy enough to just take a knife, swoop the dupe in there and clean that stuff right out. It's just flashing from the molds. Doesn't affect reliability or functionality or anything like that, but it is just kind of a small detail. I guess when you pay like 600 bones for it, I think this was like $5.99, man. I love the 20-inch guns. You get the most velocity out of it. 20-inch heavy barrel. This reminds me, throws me back now. When I was in the Army in the early 90s, we had the A2s with the fixed carry handle and the burst. But this is essentially the same thing, except you couldn't remove the carry handle. So there it is, guys. I think this one is a winner. And let me know if you're part of the 20-inch gang, if you like the full-size rifle like this. I think they're fantastic. And, you know, I debated whether or not to get the Colt. The Colt was $400 more. So I took the gamble on the PSA, and I'm totally happy with it. I think it's great. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. We will see you next time.